For those of you who don't know, I am a hip hop artist as well as a social entrepreneur, but we got to have a conversation about hip hop today. If you think hip hop only teaches bravado, then you're missing the curriculum hidden in plain sight. What many people hear as noise is actually a language of skill building. And when a lot of adults hear hip hop, they think that it only focuses on competition and ego and defiance. And for just as impacted young people, that stereotype is exasperated times a million. We start labeling them based on their art and their music. Now, I'm not a fan of indictment rap. It is what it is. I do not believe in committing crimes and recording music about it. But we cannot act like the music is the problem. Instead, we should help them redirect their energy and speak life. I believe that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if we help them channel that energy and speak life in a language that they're already fluent in, then maybe, just maybe, we'll see some success. The issue isn't whether hip hop is good or bad. We have to talk about what it already trains in our young people and even in the minds of our adults. We're talking about decision-making under pressure. We're talking about emotional intelligence, and we're talking about identity amongst the age of social media. So let's look at hip hop as a practice, actually. It's never just been about a set of songs. And when you name those practices clearly, they map directly to leadership skills, emotional intelligence, resilience, and social awareness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break down hip hop from my perspective into 4 parts. Let's take a look at the curriculum. The Cipher. Woo! One of my favorite. In a Cipher, you have to read the room. You have to think on your feet. You have to wait your turn. You have to hold presence while being a presence in the room, and you have to respond without escalating. But when you get your opportunity, that's the moment you shine. That's the moment where your voice is heard. It's about timing. It's about listening. It's about social awareness and emotional regulation, because it get intense in these circles. And that's not about performing. If you look at those skills, that's leadership. That is leadership. Emotional intelligence is leadership. Let's go to part 2 of this curriculum, writing bars, emotional literacy, one of my favorite parts, right? Because writing bars forces us to think about how do we feel, forces us to think about how do I want to speak about it? What do I want to say about this? And that builds emotional identity, that builds storytelling skills and separates story from sensation and also converts impulse into creative language, right? So being able to channel that energy, again, how do we help them channel their energy? And for youth that are trained in this world to move and to live fast, for them to be able to slow down and write their thoughts, that's a win. That's powerful. That's leadership. So when I'm writing, I still write to this day because it's therapy, right? It encourages me to heal. But as you get older, when you become a man, you put childish things aside. So the content of your music should change. So today it sounds like overthinking led to seasonal depression. But why I'm tripping if this season is the blessing? All the bills on auto pay, so y'all don't get to see me stressing. And my son can have whatever, but he must receive attention. It's priority I'm present. While balancing the work that leave you scarred with some resentment, I told God I need direction. Yeah, that's all I'm going to give y'all for now, but that's a part of the curriculum. Let's talk about part 3, the battle, conflict with a structure, organized chaos, right? At its healthiest, a battle is the high competition where you take hits, where you adapt. Again, emotional intelligence is super key. And because people can freestyle so well, thinking on your feet, you must remain steadfast. You must be witty. That teaches the resilience of a creative, of a person, of a human being. That teaches disagreement without destruction, conflict resolution. Come on now, because we're in control. When you are unmoved by anybody else's thoughts, words, or opinions of you, you have mastered self. And that makes a powerful human being. And hip hop can do that. Now, last but not least, we're going to bring it to production, the systems thinking, because this is where digital literacy kicks in and DAWs and editing, because producing requires a few things like layering, like patience, like revision. Repetition is the mother of skills. So you want to just continue to work at these things until you get stronger. And in that, you're building something amazing. You're building something special, something that holds together. You build a community. It's system thinking, it's community building, it's shared ownership, it's project management, it's long-term planning. These are skills, these are durable skills that allow people to be successful in today's skills-based economy. And you can find it right here in hip hop, right under our noses, because we want to be judgmental, like we all in party in the 90s, 80s, 70s. Come on, man, let's get out of there. So here's the curriculum hiding in plain sight. But we got to remember that hip hop, it teaches leadership inside of a culture of practice. And we shouldn't judge it as a performance, but as another vehicle for our community and young people to share their stories and to heal. And why this matters for justice impacted youth more so because those are the ones left out of the access with the resources, right? They need a chance to build skills. And we need culturally relevant curricula that will allow them to not abandon the culture that they're from, but continue to contribute to it in a way that advances community and that advances healing and economic mobility. We don't have to judge what they're doing. We could just simply help them practice their leadership skills and do it with a purpose. Hey, I learned that purpose and a paycheck brings peace. I don't know if that's an equation that works for you, but it definitely works for me. If I got some purpose and that is connected to some funds, my rent is paid, my child is taken care of, and that's a win for me. I want to challenge us, all the unks, the aunties, all the adults in the room. If hip hop sounds too bravado for you, it may be worth asking what's underneath. What are they hiding? What is there that needs attention? How do we actually give them back autonomy and power and uplift their voice in a world that wants to keep them silent and drown them out? And that's what hip hop does. So at EW, we're going to keep the doors open for them to tell their stories, to heal, to build, to record, and be the creative that God created them to be.